Have you ever encountered someone who seemed charming at first, but something about them felt off? Maybe they were overly flattering, manipulative, or just downright deceptive. You couldn't quite put your finger on it, but there was a lingering sense of discomfort. What if, deep down, that person harbored darker intentions? What if they were influencing your life in ways you couldn't immediately recognize? In a world full of complex relationships and hidden agendas, it's not always easy to tell who has our best interests at heart and who doesn't. Unfortunately, toxic or even evil people exist in every corner of society, and their impact can be far-reaching, affecting not just our emotions, but our mental and physical well-being. The behaviors of harmful individuals often manifest in subtle ways: manipulation, deceit, narcissism, and emotional abuse. They can drain our energy, disturb our peace of mind, and cause lasting damage to our self-esteem. Recognizing these harmful patterns can be incredibly difficult, especially when they are masked by charm or social manipulation. However, by developing the ability to identify these behaviors early on, we can protect ourselves and maintain our sense of inner peace. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism comes in. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy developed by thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, provides invaluable tools for navigating life's challenges, including how to protect ourselves from harmful influences. Stoic teachings emphasize self-awareness, emotional resilience, and the importance of maintaining control over our reactions, skills that are particularly useful when dealing with toxic individuals. The central theme of this video is to help you identify those who may be toxic, manipulative, or even evil, and to give you the tools to avoid their negative influence. By understanding key Stoic principles, you can gain clarity on how to protect your peace and avoid falling victim to harmful people. We'll explore the wisdom of ancient Stoics and how their teachings can serve as a guide in recognizing harmful behaviors in others. Whether it's learning to detach emotionally, setting firm boundaries, or recognizing signs of manipulation, the principles of Stoicism will empower you to navigate relationships with greater awareness and resilience. By the end of this discussion, you'll have a deeper understanding of how to identify toxic individuals and the mental tools to avoid being influenced by their negativity. Manipulation is a form of subtle influence that can often go unnoticed, especially when it's disguised as help or guidance. Manipulative people don't necessarily act overtly aggressive or obvious in their behavior. Instead, they employ more covert tactics to shape the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others to their advantage. This manipulation can range from twisting the truth to gaslighting or altering the narrative in such a way that the victim begins to question their own perceptions or understanding of reality. It is an insidious process that over time erodes the autonomy of the person being manipulated, making them feel unsure of themselves and dependent on the manipulator. For example, consider a situation where a friend might say, "I only want what's best for you, but every time I suggest something, you seem to resist. Don't you trust me?" This comment, which might seem helpful or concerned at first glance, is actually a form of manipulation. The person is twisting the narrative, subtly placing doubt in your mind about your own decisions and making you question your ability to make choices. Over time, such behavior can slowly strip away your confidence, turning you into someone who depends on their approval or guidance. Similarly, gaslighting is another common form of manipulation where the manipulator denies reality or events that you clearly remember, making you question your own memory and perception. A manipulative partner might deny things they've said or done, claiming you're just overreacting, that never happened, even though you are certain it did. This creates a distorted version of reality, where you are no longer certain of what is true and what is false, giving the manipulator the power to control you. From a Stoic perspective, manipulation takes away the very core of what Stoicism teaches: the mastery of oneself. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Manipulative people rob others of their freedom by distorting reality, questioning their sense of self, and exerting control over their decisions. When a person allows themselves to be manipulated, they surrender their autonomy. They lose their ability to think independently and act in accordance with their own principles. In essence, they are no longer masters of themselves, but are under the control of someone else, often without even realizing it. Spotting manipulation can be difficult, as it is often cloaked in subtlety and persuasion. However, there are warning signs you can look for. One of the first is contradictions in behavior. A manipulative person may tell you one thing, but their actions suggest something entirely different. For example, someone might say they care about you deeply, but consistently put their own needs and desires ahead of yours. Another sign is the constant creation of doubt. If someone is always making you second-guess your thoughts, feelings, or decisions, this is a major red flag. Manipulators thrive on sowing seeds of doubt and uncertainty so they can control the narrative. At work, manipulation can manifest through a boss or co-worker who undermines your confidence or makes you question your competence. They might set you up for failure by giving unclear instructions or changing expectations last minute, then criticize you for not meeting their expectations. In friendships, manipulation can appear as a friend who constantly asks for favors but never reciprocates, making you feel guilty for even considering saying no. The Stoic solution to manipulation lies in developing self-awareness and emotional control. Stoicism teaches that we are only responsible for how we respond to others' actions, not their actions themselves. By practicing mindfulness and detaching ourselves from external validation, we can maintain our autonomy and avoid being swayed by others' attempts to control us. The Stoics also advocate for questioning everything that feels off. If something doesn't feel right in a relationship, a conversation, or an interaction, take a step back and evaluate it without letting emotions cloud your judgment. Independent thinking is a cornerstone of Stoicism, so it's vital to stay true to your principles and not allow others to manipulate your reality. By remaining steadfast in your understanding of your own values and emotions, you protect yourself from the influence of manipulative people. The key is to recognize manipulation for what it is, an attempt to control, and to resist that influence by strengthening your own sense of self. When you master yourself, as Epictetus suggested, you free yourself from the control of others and are no longer vulnerable to their subtle manipulation. Charm can be an incredibly powerful tool, often used by individuals who wish to manipulate and exploit others. At first glance, a person who exudes charisma, charm, and likability can seem irresistible, drawing people in with ease. They know how to make others feel special, seen, and valued. However, this charm can be nothing more than a carefully crafted facade designed to gain trust and manipulate those around them. In these cases, charm is not a sign of genuine goodwill or kindness, but a weapon to exploit others' vulnerabilities and get what they want. The danger of charm lies in its deceptive nature. When someone is too good to be true, it's often a sign that their intentions may not align with what they project. Beneath that polished surface, there could be ulterior motives, whether it's a desire for control, admiration, or resources. The ability to draw people in with charm is a skill that manipulative individuals often use to gain influence over others, making it difficult for people to see their true character. By creating a false sense of closeness or friendship, these individuals can slip past defenses, ultimately using the trust they've gained to exploit weaknesses or manipulate situations to their advantage. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, offers valuable advice when it comes to dealing with surface-level appearances. He reminds us that the true essence of a thing is often hidden. This is an essential lesson when it comes to interacting with others, particularly with those who rely on charm as a means of gaining influence. The Stoics were keenly aware of how easy it is to be deceived by appearances. They encouraged us to look beyond the surface, to evaluate actions and behavior rather than getting caught up in the superficial allure of a person's charisma. Stoicism teaches that we should strive to see people as they truly are, not how they present themselves. When we focus only on the outward charm or the emotional appeal, we can become blind to manipulative behavior. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Seneca advocated for inner strength and wisdom, urging us to rely on our reasoning and self-awareness to navigate complex relationships rather than being swayed by emotions or external appearances. By maintaining a sense of objectivity and emotional detachment, we can see through the mask that charm often creates and assess others more accurately. So how can we spot a false charmer before their influence grows too strong? There are a few key behaviors to watch out for. First, inconsistency in behavior is a major red flag. A charming person may be incredibly warm and engaging one moment, but cold or dismissive the next. These mood swings or contradictions can be a sign that their charm is simply a tactic rather than a reflection of their true nature. Second, excessive flattery is often a telltale sign of manipulation. While compliments and praise can be genuine, over-the-top flattery can feel disingenuous, especially if it comes on too strongly or feels like it's being used to get something in return. Another key indicator of a false charmer is their reluctance to reveal anything personal about themselves. Manipulative individuals often keep their true selves hidden, creating an air of mystery or making themselves seem elusive. They want you to reveal your vulnerabilities while keeping theirs safely guarded. Pay attention to how they treat those they don't view as valuable. A true, genuine person treats everyone with respect and kindness, regardless of their social status or influence. However, a manipulator may show a marked difference in how they treat people who don't serve their interests. The Stoic solution to dealing with charm-based manipulation lies in cultivating your inner strength and clarity. By strengthening your ability to see through facades and illusions, you can protect yourself from being swayed by charm alone. Stoicism encourages us to trust actions over words. While words can be flattering and comforting, it's the actions, how someone behaves over time, that truly reveals their character. By staying grounded in your own values and principles, you can more easily recognize when someone is attempting to manipulate you. To safeguard your trust and emotional well-being, it's crucial to remain vigilant. Don't let a charming smile or flattering words blind you to the reality of a person's actions. By developing the clarity to see beyond surface-level charm, you can protect yourself from being manipulated and ensure that your relationships are based on authenticity, not illusion. The Stoic approach teaches that when we look with clear eyes and trust in our judgment, we can avoid being deceived by the masks others wear. Lying without conscience refers to the act of lying without any sense of guilt, remorse, or moral conflict. Some people lie so easily and frequently that they begin to create entire false realities for themselves and others, using deception as a tool for personal gain. These individuals do not see lying as an ethical dilemma, but as a necessary means to achieve their goals, whether that's power, wealth, social status, or control. They weave elaborate stories, twist facts, and manipulate truths to present a version of events that serves their interests, often with no concern for the harm they may cause. What makes this behavior particularly damaging is the lack of moral awareness. A chronic liar, unlike someone who might lie out of fear, guilt, or self-preservation, lies because they are comfortable doing so. They have no qualms about bending reality to fit their narrative, and this disregard for truth can have a corrosive effect on their relationships, their reputation, and even their own sense of self. Lying without conscience isn't just about telling falsehoods, it's about shaping the world around them to fit their needs, regardless of the consequences for others. From a Stoic perspective, truth and virtue are paramount. Epictetus, one of the leading Stoic philosophers, teaches that we must always seek the truth and live virtuously, regardless of external circumstances. He firmly believed that our character is defined by our actions, and when we abandon truth, we tarnish our integrity and corrupt our soul. For the Stoics, lying is not merely an ethical failing, it's a fundamental threat to one's inner peace. When a person lies, they are distorting reality, creating inner conflict, and disconnecting from the natural order of things. The more a person lies, the more their ability to live virtuously becomes compromised, leading to a life filled with anxiety, confusion, and discord. To lie without conscience is to disregard the very foundation of Stoic thought, which is the pursuit of truth, virtue, and wisdom. When we lie, we disconnect ourselves from reality, and in turn, from our own peace of mind. The Stoic solution is simple. Truth must be at the core of all our actions, for it is through truth that we align ourselves with what is good and just. Spotting a chronic liar is not always easy, but there are signs that can help you recognize them. One of the most obvious is inconsistency. A person who lies frequently may struggle to keep their stories straight, contradicting themselves or offering different versions of events that don't match up. They may also make excuses for their lies, claiming that they had to lie for a good reason or that it was for the benefit of others. This pattern of shifting explanations and contradictions is often a sign of someone who is not anchored in the truth, but is instead caught up in their own web of deceit. Another telltale sign of a chronic liar is how their lies affect others. Lies often create confusion, distrust, and chaos. A person who lies without conscience will rarely show concern for the harm their lies cause. Instead of taking responsibility for the damage they've done, they may deflect, blame others, or continue spinning even more lies to cover up their tracks. The impact of their dishonesty may ripple out, leaving those around them questioning what's real and feeling betrayed. The Stoic solution to dealing with lies and deceit is to develop the discipline to remain aligned with the truth and personal integrity. When confronted with a lie, the Stoic response is to remain grounded in one's principles and not be swayed by the temptation to engage in deceit ourselves. Stoicism teaches us that our peace of mind and virtue must come from within, not from external validation or the manipulation of others. By holding steadfast to the truth, we not only protect our integrity, but also our mental and emotional well-being. Stoicism also encourages self-reflection. By continually examining our own actions and motives, we can ensure that we are not complicit in dishonesty or deception. Practicing truthfulness, even in difficult situations, strengthens our character and fosters a deeper sense of trust and respect with others. While lying may seem like an easy shortcut in the short term, the Stoic perspective reminds us that it ultimately leads to inner turmoil and a diminished sense of self. In a world filled with deceit, remaining true to ourselves and to the truth is one of the most powerful ways to safeguard our inner peace. The discipline of Stoicism encourages us to face the reality of each situation, no matter how uncomfortable, and to choose the path of integrity over convenience. By doing so, we preserve not only our peace, but our moral clarity, resisting the corrosive influence of lies without conscience. The need to control is one of the most common traits among individuals who seek to manipulate others for their own gain. These individuals often try to dominate others through fear, influence, or coercion. They may use emotional manipulation, threats, or intimidation to bend others to their will, forcing them into situations where their autonomy is compromised. Whether it's a boss who demands excessive loyalty, a partner who stifles your independence, or a friend who always needs to be in charge, the desire for control is a powerful tool that many evil individuals use to assert dominance over others. The tactics these people employ often go unnoticed at first. They may start with small requests that feel harmless, but gradually they push boundaries, demanding more from those around them. Over time, they build a dynamic in which others feel they have no choice but to comply. They may use guilt-tripping to make others feel selfish or ungrateful for not doing things their way, thus reinforcing their power. The fear of disappointing or upsetting them can lead people to make sacrifices or concessions they wouldn't otherwise make. This toxic dynamic is rooted in a deep need for control, which ultimately undermines the freedom and autonomy of those around them. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, offers invaluable wisdom on the subject of control. He teaches that true freedom comes not from the ability to control others, but from the mastery of oneself. In his writings, Seneca emphasizes the importance of self-control, highlighting that it is only when we have control over our own thoughts, desires, and reactions that we can experience genuine freedom. The Stoic mindset rejects the idea that freedom lies in controlling external circumstances or other people. Instead, it stresses the need to focus inward and gain mastery over one's own emotions, decisions, and actions. When we give in to the desire to control others, we are only entangling ourselves in unnecessary conflict and losing the ability to live a peaceful, virtuous life. A person driven by a need for control often displays certain behaviors that can help us spot them before they cause too much harm. One of the most significant signs is the way they push boundaries. They might disregard your autonomy, regularly overstepping limits or making demands that are unreasonable. These people will often try to guilt-trip you into agreeing with their wishes or making you feel as if you owe them something, even when their requests are excessive or selfish. They may say things like, "I thought you cared about me," or "If you really loved me, you'd do this," in an attempt to manipulate your emotions and make you feel obligated to comply. Another key sign of a control seeker is the way they refuse to accept no as an answer. They will push, persist, and try to manipulate the situation until they get what they want. Whether it's in a personal or professional setting, the ability to say no becomes a crucial safeguard. A control-seeking individual will often attempt to wear down your resistance, whether by making you feel guilty or appealing to your emotions until you relent. Their behavior ultimately leaves you feeling powerless, as if you are constantly bending to their will rather than maintaining your own principles and boundaries. The Stoic solution to dealing with individuals who seek control is to focus on maintaining personal boundaries and independence. As Seneca teaches, true freedom comes from self-mastery, not from giving in to the demands of others. Developing the discipline to set and defend your boundaries is essential for protecting your inner peace. It's vital to recognize when someone is trying to manipulate or control you and to resist the temptation to conform to their will out of guilt, fear, or obligation. Learning to say no, firmly and with conviction, is a powerful tool in this process. The Stoics understood that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond. When we allow ourselves to be manipulated or controlled by someone else, we relinquish our freedom and peace of mind. By saying no when necessary, we assert our independence and protect our sense of self. Stoicism teaches us that we must remain grounded in our own values and not let others dictate our choices or our actions. Additionally, practicing emotional resilience is key to maintaining boundaries with control-seeking individuals. The more we become aware of our emotional reactions, the less likely we are to be swayed by guilt or fear. Stoicism encourages us to stay calm and rational, especially in the face of emotional manipulation. By focusing on what is within our control, our responses and decisions, we can resist the pressure to conform to someone else's desires. In conclusion, the desire for control is a dangerous trait that can undermine our autonomy and peace of mind. By focusing on self-control, maintaining personal boundaries, and asserting our independence, we can protect ourselves from the influence of control-seeking individuals. The Stoic wisdom of Seneca reminds us that true freedom lies not in dominating others, but in mastering our own desires and actions. Through this internal strength, we can navigate relationships with confidence, ensuring that we remain in control of our own lives. Emotional volatility is a powerful tool used by some individuals to manipulate, intimidate, or destabilize those around them. These evil individuals thrive on chaos and often use explosive outbursts to gain control or distract from their own behavior. By becoming unpredictably angry, tearful, or dramatic, they create a sense of uncertainty in their relationships, leaving others unsure of how to respond. The sudden shift in emotional states can make people feel off balance, leading them to tiptoe around the volatile person, always uncertain of what might trigger the next outburst. This emotional instability is often a tactic to maintain power over others, as it forces them into a defensive position and shifts the focus away from the manipulator's actions. For instance, a partner might fly into an irrational rage over something trivial, and when confronted, they might immediately switch to tears or guilt-tripping, making the other person feel responsible for the outburst. This emotional back and forth keeps the victim on edge, constantly attempting to restore peace and avoid further confrontation. Over time, this can lead to a feeling of emotional exhaustion and confusion as the other person never knows what to expect or how to act. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, offers a powerful lesson on how to handle emotional chaos. He famously said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This wisdom encourages us to respond to emotional volatility with composure, not to stoop to the level of the person creating chaos. When someone tries to manipulate or intimidate us with emotional outbursts, the Stoic approach is to remain calm, rational, and unaffected. By doing so, we protect our inner peace and refuse to let their emotional turbulence destabilize us. The Stoic response to emotional instability is rooted in emotional control and self-awareness. While others may be quick to react with anger, frustration, or defensiveness, a Stoic remains composed, understanding that their reaction is within their control. Instead of getting caught up in the drama, they remain grounded in their values and principles, avoiding the trap of reacting impulsively. By practicing self-restraint and emotional detachment, the Stoic can preserve their peace of mind and maintain control over their responses, rather than being swept away by the unpredictability of others. One of the first signs of emotional instability in someone is sudden, unexpected bursts of anger or tears. A person prone to emotional volatility might explode over something insignificant, such as a minor disagreement or an unintentional mistake. These outbursts are often disproportionate to the situation, leaving others confused and unsure of how to react. In addition, emotional manipulators may use tears or emotional outbursts as a way to shift blame onto others. When confronted, they might say, "You made me this way," or "I can't help how I feel," placing responsibility for their emotions on someone else. This tactic keeps the focus on their emotional state rather than on their actions or the situation at hand. Another red flag of emotional instability is when someone uses their emotions as a tool to manipulate others. They may guilt-trip you, cry, or shout in an attempt to make you feel responsible for their emotional turmoil. By doing so, they can manipulate the narrative, making you feel guilty or obligated to make amends for something that wasn't your fault. The erratic nature of these outbursts creates instability in relationships, leaving the other person constantly walking on eggshells, unsure of how to avoid triggering another emotional explosion. The Stoic solution to dealing with emotional outbursts is to remain calm and unshaken in the presence of emotional chaos. The Stoic ideal is to cultivate emotional detachment, an ability to observe emotions without becoming consumed by them. When confronted with someone who is unstable or emotionally volatile, the Stoic response is not to engage with their emotions directly. Instead, the Stoic remains steady, focused on maintaining their own sense of inner peace. By doing so, they refuse to become entangled in the drama or give in to the manipulative tactics of the other person. To protect yourself from being dragged into the emotional turmoil of others, practicing emotional detachment is key. This doesn't mean being cold or uncaring. Rather, it's about maintaining a healthy distance from the emotional fluctuations of others. By recognizing that you cannot control their feelings or reactions, you free yourself from the need to react to every emotional outburst. You focus on your own responses, remaining grounded in your values and principles, and refuse to let someone else's emotional chaos dictate your actions. In conclusion, dealing with individuals prone to unpredictable outbursts requires emotional resilience and composure. The Stoic way is to remain calm, not allowing their emotional volatility to disrupt your inner peace. By practicing emotional detachment and staying grounded in your principles, you can avoid being manipulated by emotional manipulation, preserving your own emotional well-being and staying true to your values. As Marcus Aurelius teaches, the best response to emotional chaos is to rise above it, keeping your composure and remaining unwavering in the face of instability. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It allows individuals to connect with others on an emotional level, offering comfort, support, and a sense of shared humanity. However, some people exhibit a lack of empathy, which can signal a darker, more self-centered nature. Those who lack empathy are indifferent to the pain or suffering of others, often viewing them as tools for personal gain or simply as obstacles in the pursuit of their own desires. A lack of empathy can manifest in many ways, such as neglecting or dismissing the emotional needs of others, causing harm without remorse, or failing to recognize the emotional impact of their actions.